usually the opposite of uniformity, but the shifts in time form a certain parity. With the gesture of buttons comes clarity
of information. Yeah. MoDeCoDe, May 28th, 2025. In a previous life, my spirit was kept to this bewildering strife. Daily mentions of your gleam, fire and steam pressing down your jeans. I could have made a diary out of the memories you seemed to redeem, justifying our ripped seams. My dream is never cast by a responder's reach, but by a living testament resurrected to teach. Echoes and whispers which arouse my ears with devotional candles and incense, assuring a moving dissipation to dance and condense. I'm drawn with a holy supplication. Errors have now joined with practice theory. So what if the marks of progress are torn by eternal struggle and engulfed dreary? The ancestors have empowered me to soften my hands to their stone. This vow is kept and made home. Despite imperialist forces set to cast us alone, the work continues to service my spirit ready for war, hands and feet thickly covered with blood and tar, safeguarded by tactile drones and made stable by a dichotomous satellite. We shall soon gain our third sight. Can you purport that your face hasn't been beat? At least retreat in the heat and take a seat. So there we stood, naked and drenched in our necklaces. Ice cold, the shining got us on hold, enough to delicately chill our appointed beverage. Sparkles scent maximizing and anointing our leverage. As sequences shifts and unfolds, the encryption of such persuasion manages rhymes and randomized evasion, thus invasion. The differences between the two will make do, but the only way out is through. This is the calling of MoDeCoDe. Regurgitation of information, regurgitation of information, regurgitation of information. Featuring Scribble Dribble, February 8th, 2021. Pieces Left Behind, August 28th, 2022. Essence is Gone, November 7th, 2023. MoDeCoDe, May 28th, 2025. So the explanation of this piece reminded me of the purpose of this series. The purpose of this poem, Regurgitation of Information, is the MoDeCoDe. It's the encryption persuasion in which I have created a new poem out of old poems. And, today's the 28th. It's the last official release of the month. I was telling a friend of this recently. Every 7, 14, 21st, 28th of the month, that's 48 poems a year, I'll be releasing a poem. As of the last year, there's been this series here, Regurgitation of Information. And it is regurgitation because a lot of these lines were written before, as I called out. The first poem written being from 2021, 2022, 2023, and a little of that poem which was incorporated into the whole of this poem, MoDeCoDe, released today, written today. And when I say this is the calling of MoDeCoDe, I mean that this calling is a signature that is dressed as regurgitation of information. It's chopped and screwed as to reload. That's essentially what I'm doing. I'm very much inspired by chopped and screwed remixes or songs that have a slowed down version with added reverb and bass boost. These poems are sort of inspired in that nature. As you hear the Price is Right theme song that is remixed into just like this dubstep, like 808 explosion, produced by Corey X. Kenshin. I wrote this poem to remind myself of the code, and quiet as it's kept, there is a code to this whole life. And this code is ice cold, and it is also very vibrant when you think of ice. When people talk about, I got ice on my necklace, they're usually referring to bling, that shining crystal formation. And of course, I talk about beverages, a cold beverage, anointing our leverage. All of these things are written as poetic windows consume my mirrored ambitions. But I hope that you've taken some inspiration from this poem. There is a line in the poem, Scribble Dribble, where I say, so what if the marks of progress are torn by eternal struggle and engulfed dreary? And I remember I wrote that within the awakening and the continuation of my political education, and I thought of the struggle and the progress that is had, the marks of struggle, the heaviness and the burnout that is often associated when one is committed to revolutionary struggle. Oftentimes, when one hears about eternal struggle or the struggle in general, they're discouraged because it sounds almost like it's defeatist, like, oh, you're struggling, or is there ever any solution? Will there be a revolution? And the answer to that is yes. And it's something that we have to fight for. It's something that we have to struggle onward, forward to the revolutionary struggle. And being in Cuba just really reminded me of this demonstration. If we're talking about liberation, if we're talking about solidarity, we have to know that the marks of progress will be marked in struggle. Our hands are going to get dirty. We're going to witness headache, but we have to continue onward and press forward. Liberation continues. Viva Cuba! Viva Africa! I also would like to say Happy African Liberation Day. This year's theme was Africa for Africans, revolutionary Pan-Africanist unity across borders in the battle for socialism against imperialism. Ashe to that. Uniformly, randomly, in search of paradise clarity, URISOPC. Buttons. Blessings. Uniformly, randomly, in search of paradise clarity.